The vast majority walked in ancient times, and if they brought their donkey, it was used for carrying supplies and not for riding. The roads were often very poor, so the carts weren't usually used, although the Romans did improve some of the main roads. In the previous segment, Dr. Fleming mentioned that Jesus asked his disciples, "Who do you say that I am?" in Caesarea Philippi, which is 25 miles north of Galilee. We'll take in the view going north this way while we first listen to Hananiah.
So this is called Hippos, one of the 10 city-states of the Romans. There's a lot of ruins up there, and just besides the side of the Hippos, milestones were found saying how far from here to Damascus. The Roman road system was so organized that when you depart from one place, you know how far to your destination. This place is very populated in Jesus' time, and this is what receives the name Galilee of the Gentiles.
Next, we'll briefly back up to when we were at the Mount Carmel range to learn about how travel was affected by valleys and hills.
So the way of the sea is more over there,
See there,
right?
the 3 stacks?
Okay, it's right up next to the coast.
That's the beach.
They always stayed in the valleys, right, when they're traveling? And didn't the way of the sea divert away because of the hills?
You're right.
And then they would always tax travelers going in that.
Right, and then you have certain places where the road gets narrow, so you cannot really wander around.
While we drive north to Caesarea Philippi going this way, I'll mention that the Romans did a good job of policing against bandits and people like the zealots that would jump on caravans and raid them more than other periods in the past. But even still, it was much better to travel in groups, and to travel by yourself was almost crazy. So when Jesus told the parable of the Good Samaritan, that was almost a story that could be predicted, especially that route. It was a route more commonly known for bandits.
This building that's coming up on the left side of the road is romantically called the Good Samaritan Inn.
Not romantic.
Has nothing to do with the Samaritans, and it's not an inn. It's a Turkish building left behind. But this is the road where the Good Samaritan would meet that man that was traveling.
Then, because it was about 120 miles going from Nazareth to Jerusalem, and every year the pilgrims did that for the Passover, I wanted to know how long it would take to walk.
3 miles an hour is a walk.
Yeah.
30 miles a day is only 10 hours. In the winter, you may not have much more than 10 hours of light.
Right.
But in the summer, you'll have 18 hours of light. So that depends on how steep it is, how rough it is, how dangerous it is, what time of year. But 30 miles is not pushing it. Depending on how much in a hurry, and why don't you say it this way, it's 4 to 6 days. Roman soldiers can go 50 miles a day.
Yeah, because they would be riding their horses.
No, in a quick time march.
We're approaching Jericho.
But we can't stop because we're driving through the West Bank. Also, as I mentioned before, Jesus would have fasted somewhere around here.
Jericho was one of the first towns to be turned over to the Palestinian control. Israel doesn't have a presence here anymore other than in the highway. And that's one of the reasons why we don't feel that it's safe for us to visit Jericho.
This here is a desert wadi. This valley doesn't have that many dramatic ones. This one is from the desert. They're formed by torrential rains in the winter. It hardly ever rains in the desert, but when it does, it comes down hard and fast. Traveling in southern Israel is much more dangerous for different reasons, one being that you could get lost easily, but the other being when the torrential rains in the winter, it catches travelers off guard every year. Hikers tend to get killed by the floods through the wadis.
By the way, the flash floods of this canyon washed the road away 2 years ago. See on the left? So this little detour, an asphalt here. The foolish man built his house in the wadi. And the rains came and the floods and it fell. The wise person builds their house up on the rock.